All right, so we're folding Jun Maekawa's penguin. Looks like this, or this. These guys are folded from 15 centimeter paper, which works pretty well. I got a 24 centimeter paper, just so it's a little bit more visible. And we're starting by folding diagonally, or color side up, folding diagonally. Unfolding, flipping the paper over, and folding the other diagonal direction. Unfolding, and we have our paper oriented so that the valley fold is going horizontally. I'm going to take the bottom point and fold to this intersection in the center of the paper. Just like that. And then we're going to fold over this edge, and we're lining up two references. The first is we want to make sure this crease ends at this point at the very top, and the second is we want to make sure this corner lines up with this edge here. So kind of going to pull that over. I like to try and line up the point first, because that's kind of the trickier one to hit. And then once we have that where we want it, we can kind of pivot the rest of the flap around it until the corner touches that edge. And then once we have everything lined up, then we're going to go ahead and crease through the whole thing. And while we're lining that up, it is important that we're making sure this flap is pushed down all the way. Otherwise, that's gonna mess up the alignment. All right. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the same on the other side. Actually, fold that one a little bit better. We can go ahead and unfold this flap here, flip the paper over. I'm gonna fold this edge to the center line here. If everything is going well so far, this folded edge that we just created should be just about lining up with the raw edge in front. And again on the other side. Can unfold both of those, flip the paper over, unfold these flaps. And you can see those creases we made, cut that 90-degree angle at the top into 6 nice even slices of 15 degrees each, which is gonna be the angle everything is sort of at for this design. We're gonna use that vertical mountain fold to just fold the whole paper in half. And then bring this bottom corner up to this point in the middle using these creases that are already there. Like that. I'm gonna flip the paper over and fold this folded edge that we just made up to this crease here. It's gonna be the first crease when you're counting from the left. And that crease should end right around where that point is. Not right around, right where that point is. Now we're gonna fold along this edge here, this section behind. The diagrams in the book have you just doing a valley fold over. I find it easier to flip the model over though, and then we can line up this folded edge with this folded edge down here. Like that, and you can see that line's just about up there. Unfold, flip it over, unfold all this. Now we're going to be using this crease and this crease on both sides to do a crimp fold. I'm going to kind of open it up and look from this direction. On this side, we have a valley fold that needs to be a mountain fold. Just kind of bend and pinch that. And over here, this is, actually this is already valley fold, excuse me. So that is all good. So once we have all those creases in place, kind of pinch down here and just push it up. So it all collapses along those creases. Now we're gonna take this point at the bottom and fold it to this point here where this crease meets that folded edge going through the middle of the paper or the model. And then unfold, and we're gonna use that crease that we just made to inside reverse fold this tip. So opening it up, turning this part into a mountain fold, and then closing back. Now we're gonna grab this whole flap here with this tip that's gonna end up being one of the wings, and we're gonna fold over along this existing crease. And we're gonna actually extend that crease all the way down to the bottom of the paper. And what we wanna be referencing as well is that this little edge should be lining up with the edge behind it to make sure this crease is nice and vertical. And that crease should also be hitting just about that point there as far as it can go. Crease, flip it over, do all that again. So folding the flap along this crease here. Transferring the crease to the new layers that didn't have the pre-crease, and then lining up those edges at the bottom for a crease all the way down. Turn it back. Now we're gonna fold over this bit of paper along a crease that connects this corner here to this point where the kind of edge of the paper meets this creased edge going through the paper. I like to pull until I kind of hit resistance here and then pivot around that until the crease is ending at the right point. Crease that nice and hard, flip it back. Now we're gonna grab this raw edge here, lift it up, making sure we're opening this little pocket in here all the way. We're gonna push this edge to the side and then push over this edge along the crease we just made and then squash everything down, creating a small new crease through here. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. So the crease is gonna be connecting this point to this corner. Just like that. I'm gonna fold it back, lifting up this edge, opening the pocket, folding over the edge here, and then squashing. All right, now we're gonna fold all of this paper over on a crease that connects this point here where that crease hits the edge of the paper and also where that little tip is to this corner here. But the kind of easier way to line that up, if everything has been done fairly accurately so far, is we're gonna take this edge and fold it to this edge. And you can see that crease ends right where we want it to. Crease nice and hard through all the layers. Unfold. Now we're going to fold this corner here up to this corner here. Again, through all the layers. Crease also ending at that same point. Now before we unfold, we're gonna take these folded edges and fold it to this crease here. If I can grab it. And crease nice and hard because we're folding through a bunch of layers here. Unfold, unfold. Now this next step is going to be a double rabbit ear fold. So we're first going to open the model up from the back and you want to kind of have your hand inside here while you're working. You can see this crease here is already mountain fold, which is what we want. On the other side though, it's a valley fold. So we're gonna need to kind of just pinch that to turn it into a mountain fold. So it goes all the way down. It's not really cooperating with me right now. There we go. And we're gonna turn this crease into a mountain fold as well. So we have this whole diamond is all mountain folds, and then lastly, we're gonna find this crease and pinch that into a mountain fold as well. Now we're gonna kind of collapse this diamond along that existing crease going through the middle, pinching it down, and we wanna make sure these flaps sometimes come out. We wanna make sure it stays tight with this little flap tucked into those layers there. On the other side, and then we can go ahead and fold those down on the other side as well. And so what's important now is if you look at it from the front like this, it is symmetric on the left and right sides. So it's the same on this side and this side. If we lift these up, we can see it's all the same. We can lay it back down, and we're actually gonna fold these flaps up. So you see the opening in the middle there. And we're gonna fold in these edges using the existing creases on both sides. And then we're gonna fold forward this little triangle here on a line connecting this corner to this corner. And that crease should actually line up with these small edges here as well. Make sure we're only grabbing the top point, not folding through all this stuff behind here, just this layer. To give us a nice equilateral triangle for the feet and tail. Now we're gonna take these layers that we folded up and just fold them back down so the model is symmetric again. Now we're gonna fold a wing. We're gonna take this point and we're gonna bring it down. And while we're bringing it down, we're gonna make sure these edges are lined up. And while keeping those edges lined up, we're gonna pull it down as far as we can. And we should be stopped by this when that crease reaches that point right there. So line it all up, crease through. And then we're gonna fold this little corner over on a crease that's gonna line up with that raw edge right behind it. Like that, fold nice and firmly through all the layers, unfold, and then use that to inside reverse fold. And that is the wing completed. Flip it over, we're gonna do all that again on this side. So lining up the edges, until we hit this point here, this point, creasing, folding this corner along the edge behind. Nope. Creasing nice and tight, and then doing inside reverse folds. There. Flipping it back. Now we're gonna take this point and fold it down to this corner here. That's gonna be the end of the inside reverse fold that we made, the point where the wing hits this folded edge right here. Right there, and then crease through the top. Now we're gonna fold the tip back up, and we're lining up the edge here with this edge behind it. And much like we did with the wing, while we're keeping those edges lined up, we're gonna pull all the way up until that crease hits this point here. We can't pull it any further. Crease through it, unfold, Same idea again, but now this time lining up this edge and pulling the crease to this point here. All right. And now, actually, before we unfold, we're gonna grab this little corner here and fold it up along a crease connecting this corner where those two edges meet to this corner where the exterior edges meet there. Crease through that, unfold, actually unfold all of this. Now we're gonna do a double rabbit ear fold similar to the one we did before. This one's gonna be a little bit trickier, opening it up from behind. This little crease here, we're gonna pinch into a mountain fold. Like that. And then we're gonna pinch sort of mountain folds along that raw edge there onto the layer behind it. We already have pre-creases in place, so that's gonna be pretty easy just to pinch there and there. Now we can kind of see the fold we're going to do falling into place. Next, we're gonna pinch this little crease here into a mountain fold. These are all creases that already exist. We're just changing the direction of them. And then now that that kind of triangle is there, we can turn the horizontal crease into a valley fold, kind of bring that whole flap down. We can do that on the other side as well. And then this line going through the middle, we're just gonna make sure to push in so it's like a valley fold, kind of close that up. And then we're gonna collapse, creating two new creases in the inside there. And you can see where those are gonna fall kind of already coming into place there. So we're just gonna push all this down and then collapse. Ideally, these edges are gonna line up with that crease that you're seeing right behind them. So you can push that in a little bit to make sure that lines up correctly. Just like that. Doesn't quite line up on this side, but I'm not too worried about it. Now, turn the page. So I'm gonna fold this edge over. You don't need to do this fold. I'm just folding it so it's easier to see. Hopefully that's visible on camera. We're gonna fold over this corner, and we wanna make sure the end of this crease ends kind of in that corner right inside of there. I'll move my fingers so it's easier to see. And then we're gonna pivot around that corner. There's no super precise reference, you just kind of wanna fold about that much. Crease nice and tight, unfold, put that back. Now we're gonna use that crease to do a little closed sink. It's fairly easy as far as closed sinks go. The one thing we just need to watch out for is making sure that these flaps here are staying tightly down the whole time we're pushing this in. So while we're holding those, we're just gonna nudge that point in and then find the edges from that crease and kind of pinch them into mountain folds. And then just push the rest of it into place. And that point there is actually being a little stubborn for me, so I'm just gonna grab a little thingy just to push it in a little bit extra to make sure it's nice and clean. And then squish it down. Alrighty, lastly, we're gonna do the head. So we're gonna take this point of the beak here, and we're gonna bring this down, lining this edge up with this edge behind it, and we're gonna pull until that crease gets to that corner inside there. Actually, on mine, because I made that crease before, you can see where that corner is from this crease on the outside, but you don't need to make that. You can, just because there's a bunch of extra layers there, you can feel where you meet that extra bit of resistance. You can feel it through the layers. So just pull until you get to there, and then crease pretty hard. And then unfold. We're gonna now take the tip and fold it to this corner here. Crease, unfold, and now we're gonna take this front edge and fold it to that crease we just made. Just like that. Now we're gonna unfold that. We're gonna use that crease to do an outside reverse fold. So we're gonna open up the beak from below, making sure we have 2 layers on each side. You can put our finger kind of behind this point here and push forward to pop that back, and then turn the crease on this side, camera right, into a mountain fold, and then kind of collapse that down. Now we can actually look at the back of that point and open it up a bit. I'm gonna grab this layer here and just pull it out. This crease that is a valley fold right now, we're going to turn it into a mountain fold, and then squish it down like that to get the 2 halves of the beak. And the same on the other side, grabbing this layer, pulling it out, turning that crease into a mountain fold, and squishing it down. Now we're gonna use this crease that we made in which step was that? Step 41, to do a little crimp. So that's gonna be the mountain fold part of the crimp. So we're gonna open up here, turn this portion into a mountain fold. And for the valley fold, we're kind of gonna bring that edge forward on both sides. So pushing the beak inwards until this corner here lines up with that edge between the upper and lower part of the beak. Like that. And we wanna make sure those new valley folds that we're making end at this corner here, so all the creases meet at the same point. Like that. And so this edge should be angled a little bit more forward than this bottom part of the head. Now, this next part is, I think, probably the part people struggle with the most, or is at least the trickiest to interpret from the diagrams. The important thing to keep in mind for this whole next sequence is that we are turning the penguin basically into a cone. So we're gonna bring up these flaps, open up from the bottom here, fold the flap kind of up like this. Basically, before we start anything, we kind of wanna be looking at the model. It should be like an upside down T when viewed from the front. Now we're gonna reach into the back and kind of push out these edges here to inflate our penguin. And you can see when we try and both push out the sides and flatten this bottom triangle at the same time, it kind of bends this layer here. So what we're doing in step 48 is we're just introducing a mountain fold to kind of hold that inflating of the belly in place. So it'll stay like that. So this layer is already bending. We wanna just kind of reinforce that bend with an actual crease, like this one here. And kind of the references for that, it doesn't need to be super precise, but I want that crease to kind of end at this little corner here where that edge comes out from the edge behind it. And I want this to be roughly an isosceles triangle where this edge is the same length as the new edge that we just created with that mountain fold. And on the other side, so we're gonna bend the layer like this, and then pinch a new crease so that that edge is the same length as this edge over here. And kind of push that out to reinflate it. Now we have this big kind of jagged point sticking out of the front. The next steps are going to be rounding that off. So we're going to want to put our finger, I use my left hand because I have my left hand on the inside because I'm right-handed. And we're kind of going to flatten. We can see we still have these kind of mountain folds here. We're going to flatten this out. And kind of squashing this point down. And we want to make sure we're kind of flattening it along mountain folds that line up with this edge there. And these are pre-existing creases, so we shouldn't have to work too hard to get them into the right place, just like that. And on the other side, I want to make sure my layers are staying flat. And I'm kind of switching back and forth a lot between the sides to make sure I'm making this as symmetric as possible. So this kind of mountain fold that we've created along the edge here, I want to continue until about there. And you can see we already have this bend connecting this corner to the end of that mountain fold. We just kind of want to formalize that bend by pinching a little mountain fold, connecting those 2 points, like that. And on the other side as well, creating a mountain fold connecting the end of this mountain fold to this corner back here. So now we are gonna just fold this kind of flattened tip back, and it is important to remember that we are folding, this belly is now a curved surface. So we're folding a curved surface, which means we're gonna need to make a curved crease. So if I just kind of start to push this point back, we can already see that kind of crease coming into place as a nice curve. So I'm just gonna go along that curve and kind of pinch it in a nice rounded arc. And by making that crease that we just made nice and rounded, that is gonna make sure that it's gonna hold the belly at a nice rounded curve. And once that is in place, we're pretty much done. We can kind of just adjust things to kind of hold the back a little bit closer, sometimes kind of re-pinching these mountain folds that we made in step 48 will help hold that back closed, and just kind of putting your finger inside to puff out the belly. If you like to use glue, I like to add a little drop of glue inside here to hold those wing flaps down. Otherwise, you are all finished.